This is the story behind the hooded figures in this abandoned church. This church is considered one of the creepiest places in the world. Locals in the area believe that this church is haunted or even cursed. After being abandoned for several years, an artist came in to save the church from being demolished. And what he did was very unique and in fact actually saved the church from being demolished. This is the story of the St. George's Church and the white blanketed figures that give off a creepy feel when walking inside this church. Hi, I'm Zach and welcome to Rooted Expeditions. If you're a fan of the abandoned, historical, and strange locations, then you are in the right place. Hit that thumbs up and let's get started in today's location. St. George's Church was built in 1352 in a small village in Czech Republic, which I believe back then it was called the Kingdom of Bohemia. If I'm wrong, just let me know in the comments below. The church has been abandoned since 1968, when the roof collapsed during a funeral, which this scared many people living in the area, and they were convinced that this place was haunted or even cursed. Many people being terrified, they wouldn't even step foot inside this church. They would end up hosting funerals outside, never stepping foot inside that church. After standing for hundreds of years, over time the building began to really show its decay, and the community decided they wanted to try to save it so it wouldn't be demolished, but they lacked the resources to repair it back to its original state. Now keep in mind, the population of this community was only about 700. Man, that's small. See why. Then in 2012, a local resident and artist, Peter Kalkel, who lived nearby, volunteered to be the caretaker of this building. He wanted to help raise enough money to repair the roof and other parts of this structure. I hope I said his name right. If I didn't, please let me know how it's pronounced down below. Peter, with his artistic mind, came up with this great idea. He would play off from the idea of this haunted church and create 32 life-size ghost or white hooded figures throughout the church. You can see some standing or even sitting in the pews as though they are listening to a sermon or grieving for a lost loved one. Peter would use his students to help him, which he would cover them with sheets and create plaster cast over them to create that human-like appearance, which when he was done, he would place them throughout the church, giving off this realistic look of these statues. Word began to spread fairly quickly of the work that was being done at this church, that in 2014, they were able to raise almost $25,000 from the admission fees, and they were able to use that money to get the roof repaired. They also have organized concerts and even on some occasions have had mass inside the church itself. Today, the church still stands and is still being slowly worked on to help preserve it. Here's a little bit of history for you. Peace, I love you, and as always, God bless.